You guys, hello and welcome back to the Enchantiverse podcast. My name is Sky, as you already know, and it's been so long since we've had an episode. I've missed everyone, I have missed recording, and I just can't wait to be talking to you guys again today. So, where the heck have I been? Um, let's start there. I have been really trying, as many of you know, to finish my book. And for those of you that don't know, I've been writing a Peter Pan continuation, sort of retelling romantasy novel. Um, I've been working on it over the last few years, and really I've just been putting all of my creative energy and force into that lately, to finish it up and really make that dream become a reality. And it's been a lot of fun. I am pretty obsessed with writing. I finished it recently, and I did my edits, and right now I have beta readers reading through it. And it's funny because I'm trying to not touch it, as the beta readers are going through it, and I can't stop writing. Like, I just immediately started book two because it's going to be the first book in a series that I'm, for now, titling the Neverland Romances. So, like, the first book is called Starlight. It's focused on Peter and Wendy, and it's book one in the Neverland Romance series. Each book is a standalone, loosely related to the next. Um, they're pretty related to the next, but different characters in each book. So, anyway, that's what I've been up to, and it has been such a beautiful experience. But because I've been spending all my spare creative time doing that, writing and painting when I can, I have neglected my beautiful podcast listeners, and I'm so sorry. I am really going to work on balancing all my creative projects and giving time to each and every one in a much more successful way. I have not forgotten about the podcast. I love this podcast. I love making the episodes. I love recording them. I love thinking about the topics. And today, I wanted to talk about having your head in the clouds, living a life with your head in the clouds. I feel like most people use that as kind of like a derogatory statement about people, especially creatives, like just labeling them as someone who has their head in the clouds as if that's a bad thing. Whenever I hear that statement, though, or that name calling, I guess you could say, I always think, oh, how dreamy. Yes, she has her head in the clouds. Where else should it be? And it got me thinking about a favorite quote I have from just another lovely artist and writer that I just love, named Amy McNee. She wrote the book We Need Your Art. Oh, so good. Please read it. But one of her quotes says, "To be a successful artist, you must be unrealistic and delusional." And I completely agree. I think we can take it a step further and even say to be a happy person, or mother, wife, human being, father, you know, husband, whatever it may be, to be happy. I think we gotta be a little unrealistic and delusional. Honestly, I think we kind of have to have our head in the clouds, and I'm a firm believer of this. I just got a little startled, by the way. I'm recording this in my living room, like late at night, and I looked over, and my daughter has a Ken doll that looks like he's doing Pilates right next to me on the ground. And I did not see him until this moment, and it feels a Toy Story, like a Toy Story scene where I looked over and he was in the midst of moving and I caught him, and now he's in this pose. I'm going to take a picture of it and show all of you. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. I think that we need delusion. I think that we need daydreams and we need to be unrealistic. And, when Amy McNee used the quote, she was, she talks about this a lot, but she's talking about the fact that you need to believe in yourself and in your dreams so much, to the point where people think you're delusional. Like, you need to believe so much in yourself that everyone thinks you're crazy. And I agree. I completely agree with this sentiment. But I think that it really does just make life better, more enjoyable, and more magical and beautiful. And whenever I like really focus and am intentional about living my day with my head in the clouds, I feel like I actually am more in tune with reality, which might sound crazy, but I do, because I can create these daydreams, these delusions, scenarios, and by believing them or by allowing my imagination to enter into a different kind of realm during times in my day that might be monotonous or where I'm doing work that feels a little like drudgery, when I'm doing things that might just normally feel like the humdrum of daily life, and I choose to have my head in the clouds in that moment. I choose to let my imagination soar. I am able to tap into, it feels like a different realm, and you are able to more clearly see the moment that you're in for the beautiful, magical moment that it actually is. So, I'm going to give some examples. And, I talk about imagination a lot on this podcast, and we do imagination exercises, and that's why, because I really believe that our imaginations are lacking. I believe that we need to exercise them and to remind ourselves to use them to help us see the magic in the day. So, let me give a little example of what I mean and how maybe this can be applied more often in your day. Little side note also, I actually am doing a presentation night with my book club friends, and my presentation is on this topic as well. It's called Fantastical Delusions to Get You Through Your Day. So I don't want to spoil my whole presentation for my friends, but I am going to give like some examples as to what I'm talking about. And I might use some from my PowerPoint because I think my PowerPoint was fun. So, yeah, let me use one of these examples here. When you are cleaning, let's say you're cleaning your house and your kids made a huge mess all over the floor, there's toys everywhere. Normally, this could be something that feels frustrating. It can feel like drudgery to have to pick everything up and put it away, and it's all on you because your kids are small. Um, Now, the way that I would use tap your head into the clouds in this moment. There's so many different ways you can do it, but one that I think is really cute is pretending like you are a treasure hunter. So allowing your imagination to pretend like you are like Nicolas Cage from National Treasure, and all of the toys scattered across the floor are ancient relics and artifacts that are like the remnants of or the evidence of your child's creative adventures. And as you have the opportunity to find these treasures and you put them back into their place, you're reminded of these adventures and of all the growth and all of the magic that they've been encountering in their day. And I just think that that is such a cute perspective and such a fun way to use your imagination during the day, doing something so, you know, usually annoying. It's just kind of shifting your perspective. And that's what I mean by when I do things like this, when I am using my imagination in this way, I feel like I'm touching reality so much more accurately, because then I'm like, that really is true though. Like this mess in a way is so beautiful because it's the evidence of my tiny children playing and learning and growing and sitting on my floor in my house at this young age that I have them, that's such a fleeting moment in time. And when I look at, finding their toys as treasures, treasures that are important, and, um, you know, even pretending sometimes I'll tap into oh, it's from an earlier age and from the past. And when you put yourself into that perspective of like cleaning up these toys as if they were relics from the past, it reminds me even more of how fleeting this moment in front of me is. And it feels so much more truthful cleaning up the toys that way than, getting grumpy, just putting them away and not and just letting the moment go by. And I mean, I feel like most of the moments of my day are like that, where I'm just kind of going through the motions. But turning on the imagination, putting my head in the clouds, makes me see what a beautiful moment it really is, even something as simple or silly as cleaning up the toys. So that's one example. So this kind of practice reminds me of a really beautiful quote from Robert Fulghum. It says, "I believe that imagination is stronger than knowledge, that myth is more potent than history, that dreams are more powerful than facts, that hope always triumphs over experience." I really love that, and I love the part where he says, dreams are more powerful than facts. Imagination is stronger than knowledge. I feel like that sentiment is getting to the heart of what I'm trying to say here. That using our imaginations, it really does attune you to truth. It attunes you to something stronger and more powerful than what might at first meet the eye. I've seen some other examples that are really cute, like on TikTok, people like to put on like a bardcore, like medieval kind of music, and pretend that they are like keepers of a tavern. And so when they're in the kitchen cooking, they are just feeling like the cozy vibes, and that shutting down the kitchen for the night with their medieval music on, it just feels like something special, tuning into your imagination that way. I really love that one. Another one that I thought of for my presentation, like another daydream, that's in a similar vein, is like thinking like you're Molly Weasley and you're a powerful witch, you've got a lot on your plate, and turning on Harry Potter music and imagining that your cozy house is the Weasley's burrow. And as you clean, your spells are assisting you. And just what a nice, calm time that would be, just cleaning in that frame of mind. I don't know. I just love the idea of just putting a little sparkle on the everyday moments, and also on the hard moments too. I feel like I would rather have my head in the clouds during the hard moments, because when my head's in the clouds, I feel like I can see the light. I can see the magic so much more clearly. I feel like I've said this on a past podcast episode, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I like this topic. As I've been writing and focusing on writing so much this past year, I've come to really rely on my imagination, and it's become such like a fun friend to like have with you throughout your day. Something that I have been really loving throughout the writing process is like whenever I feel stuck in a scene, I just kind of think, what would be really surprising? Or what would be really like exciting in this moment that I'm writing right now? Like, what would take me by surprise? And just kind of letting my imagination go. That is so fun. That is so fun. If you're listening to this right now and you have a moment, or if you're a journaler, or if you have ever wanted to write, I really encourage you to sit down and write. Even if it's just like a poem, even if it's just a short story, and just let your pen go, let your typing go, however you write, and think, what would surprise myself in this next sentence? Like, what would be really exciting? And let your mind follow the path. Um, I feel like there's just so much power in our minds and in our imaginations, and you can unlock just so many fun and beautiful things within yourself by just sitting down and writing and letting it go. I feel like this topic is really tapping into optimism, and I feel like it's also really tapping into fantasy. And lately, I've been thinking about how those two things are really intertwined with each other. Like, I know there's like the grim, dark fantasies and more of the gritty fantasy out there too. Like, I know. But I feel like whimsical fantasy and optimism are so linked. I recently, like a few months ago, I think it was May. May was like a really dark month for me. It was a really difficult time, and I hadn't experienced a level of anxiety and like despair like that since I had postpartum depression with my after my firstborn. Um, and it was just a really, really hard month. And I remember just thinking, like, nothing is giving me joy right now. Like, you know, we all go through these times. For me, it felt very hormonal. Um, I don't know. There was a whole slew of things that were going on, but during those times, um, this has happened before, where I saw this meme, um, and it was of like all the princesses. It had like all the Disney princesses crying, like the scenes of them crying from like the Disney movies. And it said, every princess story begins like this. And of all of them crying. And it really helped me. The way that that pulled me out. Um, I was just like, wow, yeah, no, true, true. Every princess story, before the magic happens, the princess is in despair. And it kind of was a good like prompt for my imagination to then uh, work on and kind of let that flourish within me to internalize that truth. And to trust and to just be like, remind yourself, Sky, like, no matter how down you feel right now, no matter how dark things seem, um, you know how this story ends because you are the princess and you're in despair, and that means that the fairy godmother's on her way. That means that I always think of like The Hobbit, like the or the Lord of the Rings. The eagles are coming. You know, that means that the magic is about to happen, like the spell is about to be cast, and you know, things are about to turn around. And yeah, that was another head in the clouds kind of moment, but it reminded me of the truth of the situation, which was, this is going to end and magic is just right around the corner for me. And that's true. Which reminds me of just the most beautiful quote from George MacDonald. George MacDonald is he's an old Irish writer of fairy tales, and I love his books, love them. But this quote from him, he says, "To be able to hope is to be able to live in a world of fairy tales." And oh, that just sings in my heart, guys. That quote just sings in my heart. To be able to hope is to be able to live in a world of fairy tales. Leading me back to that, thought I had of optimism and fantasy really being intertwined, but it's touching reality. I love that. I love that so much. And I feel that. I feel like every time I allow hope and optimism to be at the center focus, I feel like life is a fairy tale. Things are magical, and you're able to see things for what they truly are. But it does require workings of the imagination. It does require, I think, hope and imagination are intertwined. And I don't mean that in a way of that hope is fake or hope is just, all made up in your mind. I mean, the way that you can attune yourself to hope, the way that you can internalize hope within you, your imagination helps that hope take root deep into the soul, I think, from my own experience, at least. You'll have to let me know, guys. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Let me know if you're watching this on YouTube. Message me with your thoughts, because I am really interested in this topic, and I'm really interested to hear from you guys of your thoughts on all of this. Another quote I love related to this subject is from Madeleine L'Engle. She wrote the Wrinkle in Time series, which is so good, but she also wrote some amazing books on writing and on story, and I just love her. But she wrote that some things have to be believed to be seen. And isn't that the truth? That is also just really touching on what we're talking about here, which is, you have to let the inner workings of your heart believe before you can see the magic that you're looking for. Like, we all are really searching for a fairy tale. We're searching for a fairy tale kind of life. We're searching for a happy life and for things to be good and for us to feel good and for things to go smoothly and for our dreams to come true. And we all have all these hopes and wishes and magic that we want for ourselves. And I think that a lot of times, well, no, probably most of the time, I think that we need to believe in those things before they can come true for us, before we can see them. And I think that it's true for most things. I think that every day that you wake up, if you can really believe that there's so much surrounding you in your life that is a fairy tale, if you can even believe that you are the main character in your own story, in your own fairy tale, like you are the princess, you're the prince, you're the knight, you're the freaking king or queen in this story, and therefore, like, you have magical stuff happen to you. You have power. Like, you rule over your own life, and you have so much beauty surrounding you in this story. If you can just wake up and just start there, you wake up and think, I'm the princess. I'm the princess. I know how my story ends because I'm the princess. It changes so much. It changes so much. Like, I'm the knight. I'm trying to think of all the options. I mean, you You can put it into any framework that you feel connected to. But just starting there, it really does wonders for your soul. It really does wonders for your mental state, I think. And I think it's really attached to the imagination, because in order for you to believe that, you need to picture it. You need to picture it. You need to picture yourself as that main character. You need to picture yourself in that life. And you need to picture the things happening around you as being written in a beautiful story and in a beautiful way, and even as being divinely orchestrated on your behalf, and that, you know, things are going your way, even when everything seems lost, even when things are looking down, you know that everything's working together for your good. And I really do think that it requires you to believe and to picture it and to imagine and to continue keeping your head up, keeping your head in the clouds, and just allowing your life to be a fantasy. One more quote. This one's from Lloyd Alexander. It says, "Fantasy is hardly an escape from reality. It's a way of understanding it." Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Fantasy, your imagination, it's not an escape from reality. It's a way to understand it, and I would add to be attuned to it in its highest form and in its most beautiful form, more importantly. So, all of this to say, if you are one that gets accused of liking to have your head in the clouds, or if people like to say, oh, you know, you love to put on those rose-colored glasses, you can say, yes, yes, I do. And because I do, my life feels like a fairy tale. And, you know, the little moments in my day can feel meaningful and beautiful. And I end my presentation, which I'm sure some of my friends are going to listen to this before my presentation, so I'm not reading off all of the fantastical delusions, fantastical daydreams that I came up with for my presentation, but I do want to end with my last thought that I did end my presentation with, which is, you know, the reality that we live in, it is simply the narrative that you choose to accept and believe. So we're all believing narratives all day long about things that we see, about ourselves, about people we know. It's all just a narrative. And so we get to choose which narratives we believe. And that includes about ourselves. That includes, the narrative about our own life. So you might as well make it a little fantastical. You might as well make it sparkly and beautiful and exactly how you want it to be. And if you're like me and you want life to be a fairy tale and you want life to be just sprinkled with pixie dust everywhere you go, make that the story that you believe in. Have that be the narrative that you choose to accept. So I encourage you to be on the lookout for little moments in your day where they normally feel blah, but you're going to allow your imagination to do something special with that moment and to recreate it into something that makes it just a little bit more enjoyable for yourself and fun, and a way for your imagination to be exercised. Whether you're cleaning, maybe you woke up sick today. Maybe you woke up not feeling cute, or you're in a fight with your spouse, or your kids are being naughty. What are some little daydreams, that you could tune into to reimagine the situation for yourself? I highly encourage it. It's so much fun and just really powerful and helpful, and just a little way to make your life more beautiful and sparkly and adventurous. And with that, I bid you adieu. Those are my thoughts for the night, guys. I really, really am glad I got to finally sit down and talk to you guys. Like I said, I'm going to be better about my schedule and cycling my projects so that I'm not just completely focused on one and completely neglect another. So I love you all so much. Please let me know if there's any little daydreams that you have that you've already found helpful in your day-to-day life, and tell me in the comments. Message me if you're not watching this on a platform that you can leave comments on. And I just love you all so much, and I hope that you have a beautiful, glittering rest of your week.